everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for visiting Energy Rising. And on this channel, I like to use the different modalities of Western therapy and esoteric techniques, along with energy and some shamanic work, to kind of help people better understand themselves and to heal. And today is Tarot Tuesday, and this is a new thing that I'm starting. And, I am considering on Tuesdays doing live readings here on this channel every Tuesday for $22. And they'll be like mini readings. However, I think that I'm gonna wait until I have like 50 subscribers. And so once I hit that mark, then I'll start doing live readings. And today I wanna do a reading that is, so if you would like me to start doing live readings and you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so that I can, build up to have enough subscribers. And also comment below if that's something that you'd like to see me do. So today I think I'm actually just gonna do a general reading for the collective, so for anyone who's watching this. And I think that the reading that I would like to do today, what I've been asked to do is, what is your subconscious trying to tell you right now? So that's the reading that we're going to do. And I think we'll kind of start by looking at maybe the situation that is going on in your life that's even bringing you to look at this video. So I'm going to go ahead and okay, so what is the situation that brings you here today? Oh, I thought I felt one. Yep, there they are. All right, so we got two cards. Okay, so it looks like the two cards that we have are the King of Staffs and the Seven of Pentacles, both in reverse. And so I would say that, the situation that's going on right now, the King of Staffs, so the King of Staffs, he is a king that is like full of passion, and he can fully harness his passion, and he knows really like what he's passionate about, what he's going after, and he just gets what he wants, right? So this coming up in reverse, I would say, is that that maybe you have a lack of passion in your life. So not really feeling like passionately like moving in any kind of direction. This might be in, when it comes to relationships, say that maybe you're in a relationship and not really feeling the passion in that relationship. So we're going to actually touch on a couple of different things, but like maybe you're in a relationship and not really feeling passion with the person in the relationship. And then the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is like also maybe not really feeling like this is going anywhere, not quite knowing if it's like adding up to be what you're hoping for. So yeah, just like a lack of passion, and also it not really being exactly what it is that you're hoping for, or like kind of taking stock in the situation, and it just doesn't really like feel right. So if this is maybe in like the things that you do with your time, whether that's like for a living or the things that you enjoy doing, that you're kind of like finding that it's hard for you to find passion. You're not really sure what you feel passionate about. And again, it's like maybe the things that you're doing in your life are not quite adding up to quite being what you're wanting, right? And I would say, I'm really a believer that like there is, that we have this natural passion in us for the things that we love. And that just doesn't seem to really be happening for you right now. So, yeah, I think that those are kind of what I'm feeling with these cards. So, feeling not necessarily like you're having passion for what you're doing. Yeah, and that's kind of not really the greatest. I think it doesn't really like feel exciting to live in that way. And at the bottom of the deck actually is the Six of Cups in reverse. So this would tell me that you actually maybe have had times in the past where you felt like you really were passionate. And so you know that it's something that's like inside of you and that you can have that passion. But, you know, kind of like looking back at the past and knowing that you can have that kind of a connection with things, but it's just not here right now. And maybe like having a lack of understanding as to why that is. Okay. So we're going to do what you need to know that you don't know. So what is it that you need to know about this situation, or just in general, like what is happening? What do you need to know about this situation? What do you need to know? We got two cards again. All right, so what you need to know, we have the Three of Swords and the Queen of Staffs. So I believe that what this is saying is that, you know, there is some kind of like wounding from the past that's really affecting this situation, that it's not, you know, it might be the situation that you're in, but more likely that it is something, you know, some kind of like wounding from the past. The Three of Swords is really a card of like heartbreak. It's the card of kind of, you know, having like emotional connection with someone and then feeling these swords coming into the heart of like, yeah, getting heartbroken, finding out some kind of knowledge that has been hurtful. And the Queen of Staffs. So, well, it's interesting because the Queen of Staffs is coming out with the King of Staffs in reverse. And so I would say that, you know, whether this is related to a relationship that you're currently in, or maybe a job or something, that actually this, what you need to know that you don't know is that this is actually in alignment. So it is kind of, maybe this is actually a person, like the passion is there. It's just that this kind of wound from the past is skewing it for you. It's making it hard for you to be in touch with the passion, if that makes any sense. And I would say that, you know, that is the case if this is about, you know, something that you're doing with your time, whether that's employment or the things that you love to do, is that actually there is some kind of a traumatic thing that has happened to you that's kind of blocking the passion. Because so it's not actually about what you are doing in particular. It's not like sometimes you don't feel passion for something because it's not in alignment and it's not what you're supposed to be doing. And these cards actually say that maybe the passion is there, that it is something that you could have passion for, but there's this kind of wound that isn't allowing you to feel that. Okay. So let's see what the advice is. What kind of advice do we have here? Okay. Oh, this card really wanted to come out. The Nine of Staffs. Advice. So that is really curious to me. So you know, okay, so the Nine of Staffs, yeah, okay. So the other thing that I'm kind of actually, I didn't really want to say this when I was holding these cards, if like something that you might need to know. But you know, one of the things that came up for me was actually feeling like maybe if this is about a relationship also, that it's like that the person that you are in a relationship might actually like have some kind of a third party situation, and might be somebody who is you know, kind of like out looking for other attention sexually. So like these two cards together kind of speaks to that a little bit. I'm not really big on like doing readings around that kind of stuff, but I think the fact that this card came up, that maybe I need to say that. So the advice in this situation is the Nine of Staffs, and the Nine of Staffs is really, it's about like the wounded warrior, and it is about someone who has been hurt before. And so they kind of put up these barriers, and they're always like on the lookout for something that's going to hurt them. This coming up in the advice would say actually that it might be a good idea for you to be protecting yourself. And so, you know, I would say that if this is about a relationships, that maybe just, you know, sometimes, you know, if you found yourself here actually like looking at this reading about a relationship because maybe you're feeling really protective of yourself, or you're like being triggered or things like that, this is actually saying it might actually be a good idea to protect yourself. And I really believe that oftentimes when things like that come up in us, like it might just be a defense or something from the past that's happening, which this could be. But also there is something really wise about our defense system, right? And so this is saying the advice is actually maybe to have a little bit of protection around yourself. And we're going to get a little clarification on that. So if this is, you know, about like what you do with your time, it's kind of saying that, you know, that it's important for you to consider past situations or like things that didn't really work for you, and to be protecting yourself in that way, like knowing that, you know, that you aren't really happy when you do like a certain kind of work, or you're not really happy when you give your energy away in a certain way, and remembering that and kind of like protecting yourself. So, yeah, and the clarification on here is the Five of Pentacles in reverse on this Nine of Staffs. And so, you know, this is actually asking you to maybe get like a little bit of a different perspective on what's going on. And this is saying actually, you know, to stop maybe to stop focusing on the way that you kind of like feel left out in the cold, that you feel kind of like this woman in this card. She is like outside of this church, and she's really cold. I don't know what light is shining on that or why it's doing this, but she is outside and it's snowing and she's cold, and she has this small child, you know, and she's like feels really alone, and yet she's walking outside of a church, and she could easily walk inside that church. And so it's kind of like also that it's pentacles. It's just like feeling alone, kind of like having a focus on that. And this is saying really like maybe not focusing on that so much, maybe reaching out to people in your life that you don't feel that way about. And I would, you know, if this is about a relationship, it's definitely saying like instead of focusing on this relationship where you're kind of feeling left out in the cold, that maybe having a little bit of protection around yourself, listening to your defenses a little bit, acknowledging that, you know, they have wisdom and they're coming to you for a reason, and also to stop focusing on this relationship where you're feeling left out in the cold. And what I would say about that is also like, you know, turning to situations and people where you don't feel left out in the cold, ones where you feel connected, where you feel like you're out in the cold, and they might bring you in and keep you safe. Okay, let's see. you know, and if this is also about, you know, the way that you're spending your time, then it also, this card is also saying to you to stop giving your time and attention to things that are not making you feel fulfilled, right? So stop focusing on the things that are leaving you with this feeling of like a lack of passion, with not really knowing what you're building, right? It's saying turn your attention to something else. Stop focusing on this thing that is leaving you feeling unfulfilled. So yeah, definitely is the case for both of those. So what else do we need to know? What else would be helpful information in this situation? Maybe some kind of, anything else that we need to know? So the Queen of Swords. Yeah, this is interesting. So this is really saying again that it's like really a need to have like clear focus of your mind, to be cutting out stuff that isn't for you. And the Queen of Swords is very like, sometimes people think the Queen of Swords is cold. And this is very much like a card that I have, like, I relate to so well. People often think that I'm cold, but really I'm just not. I have very much like Queen of Swords energy. Like, I'm just not here for things that are not really like what I want. And that's really what the Queen of Swords is, this card is asking you to do, is to really cut out stuff that isn't in alignment. So it's like saying, be cold to this, what isn't giving you what you want, whether it's your employment, or like, say that you're like trying some new extracurricular activity and it really just isn't like hitting the spot for you, right? It just doesn't really feel like it's in alignment. Or you're working at a job that feels like it's draining you. You don't really have passion for what you're doing. You don't really see yourself there long term. Or like you're in a relationship, the same thing, where it's like you don't really feel that passion, and you're not really feeling that like it's going anywhere, or building what it is that you're looking for. And this is saying like, it's time to have this kind of like really get your perspective in line with what it is that you want, and cut out what isn't that. I know that that's like easier said than done, but I'd like to get some cards for what the outcome is if this advice is followed. 3 cards this time. Okay. So the outcome here, we have 3 cards. We have the Knight of Swords, the High Priestess, and the Devil. So the outcome. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, the Devil card in there, it's kind of like throwing me off a little bit. So I'm like trying to interpret maybe what this would mean in an outcome, because generally like the Devil card is really one of like addiction, right? What's really standing out to me actually is the chain that is kind of binding these 2 people together. The Devil is like it's like a skewed representation of like the Lover's card. And it really speaks to, feeling like tied to something, kind of having maybe addiction, or like behaviors that are not really in alignment, I guess, kind of like compulsive behaviors. So the Knight of Swords and the High Priestess, I think this is saying like the outcome is You know, the Knight of Swords is really like a young card. He goes just charging in and saying what's on his mind and really like having clear ideas and fast movement. And the High Priestess is all about following her intuition and, you know, like creating magic. She has this like scroll in her hand and she holds the moon. See how instead of being in the sky, the moon is down here with her. And so it's like really being able to bring new manifestations into this world quickly and like intuitively knowing what it is that's for you and being able to move on it quickly and have a perspective. And I think like, you know, I don't know, I've been like thinking about this devil that's in here, right? So this might be like the revelation of that whatever it is that you have been doing has actually been out of addiction. And so whether that's, you know, the way that you're spending your time, like maybe you're going out and doing things that are unfulfilling, and it very much is like in the vibration of addiction, right? To like be doing things that aren't necessarily like really feeling good. But it's like the promise of it feeling good, and yet you continue to do it over and over again, and it doesn't really feel fulfilling. And so it might be the revelation that this, you know, what you've been doing with your time has really been born out of addiction, or that, you know, the relationship that you've been in where you've kind of been feeling this lack of passion has been out of addiction, maybe to this kind of even like the addiction to feeling unloved, to feeling left out in the cold, right? I want to get a little bit of clarification on that devil though, because also, you know, I'm also kind of feeling a little bit of, you know, the devil is like Capricorn energy, and Capricorn is really devoted and really tied to like, you know, like sets their mind to something and then they're very set on it. So let's see. Clarification is the Page of Cups. Yeah. And the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah. I mean, this, as the clarification for the devil, is like saying that maybe in this situation you yeah, it's kind of like that addictive piece. Like, what about this has been so alluring to you and so kind of if, like that pull, where has that pull been coming from? And this kind of like Page of Cups is, again, the page is like a really young kind of card, and it's almost like if this is a relationship, maybe this is a person who has kind of like offered you the bare minimum, just like little pieces of emotion. Maybe like this isn't really a card of like breadcrumbing, but it kind of reminds me of that, like this kind of immature kind of emotional connection. And that maybe they're very much actually just like focused on their money, or focused on, you know, somehow like meeting their needs of this world, right? And that there's something about that that is alluring to you. There's something about that that kind of, I oftentimes like think about hooks and the way that we get hooked into things. And so, you know, I want to talk a little bit about that. It's like this kind of energy is like, and you know what, my intention for this reading was actually bringing about things in the subconscious. And so it's like maybe this is kind of what's trying to come to the surface for you, right? Maybe all of this situation has been like this like lack of passion, this you know, this stuff has been kind of like coming to the surface because there's something that happens for you in either relationships or in the things that you do, that it is kind of like this promise of you know, some kind of an emotional connection of some kind, or energetic, like it's gonna fill your cup, but really it ends up being something really immature, and something that is kind of a little bit like selfish kind of, and there's something about that that hooks you. And, oftentimes when this happens, it's because we carry some kind of a wound around that, right? And so, if that were not true, when someone comes to you with this as a page of cups, you would be able to say to them, like, no, a page isn't really enough for me. I want the queen, I want the king. And it wouldn't seem like something that you want to continue to move forward with. And this would say that it's like, there's something about that is like hooking you. And so I think it's like a really great opportunity to kind of look at, is it true for you that when someone it feels like they're kind of like leaving you out in the cold, when they're, barely like giving you something, that you then feel even more of a pull to them? And, there's a really big difference between really like feeling connected to someone and feeling, in connection and feeling hooked by someone. And so situations like this are often calling us to kind of look at the ways that we get hooked. And where's the difference? And it might be both, right? I mean, I've had situations where I've been in situations where it was both. Like I genuinely had a connection with someone, but then when they like want to offer just a little bit, then it is kind of hooking, right? It's like then the hook comes in, and that feels very different than genuine connection. So the other guidance that we have here, this says starseed, what lights you up? And so it's like, in just like this whole reading and everything I've been talking about, like not really focusing so much on this. And so it's like I think that it's important to acknowledge like what's really happening here inside of me. Am I feeling like hooked to this situation? Am I feeling some sense of addiction? And when I think about addiction, oftentimes I think about how it really is about kind of like dulling ourselves, about not going after what we want, about kind of chasing the promise of things that are not real. And all of that is a distraction from what our real desires are. And so this card says, what lights you up? Right? And this woman is like sitting on this stone and she's looking out over the ocean. This tells me that like your emotions are what tell you, what it is that lights you up. And the way that it's like, starseed is really about being like from a different planet, having some kind of a unique kind of signature. So really going internal and to see what pulls you. And rather than focusing on, this relationship or this job or this activity that you're trying to do that just isn't really like hitting the spot, maybe it's leaving you left feeling out in the cold, right? This is saying like there's a reason for this. And instead, let's focus on what really does like light that fire in you. Like what is it that makes you feel passionate? And also this Six of Cups in reverse that we pulled, I don't know where it is. I lost it. Maybe I put it away. So pulling the Six of Cups in reverse, that I would say that what really lights you up. Like you've had other situations, other jobs, other activities that you've done, like other relationships that you've been in that have really ignited that passion. What are those things that really bring that passion out for you? And really having a focus on that. So, I would say that if you came here today to watch this reading, that, like you are, feeling unfulfilled in some way in something that you're doing in your life. And this is just saying like, there's a reason for that. Don't try to force yourself to feel passion where there is none. Don't try to force yourself to feel that when it isn't there. Whether it is coming because of, some kind of like a past wound that you're not feeling the passion, or it's actually that intuitively, something weird is going on in that situation. Or, the job that you have, it's like, whether it's connected to how much they're paying you, or you feel like obligated to do it. So it's like those kind of like underlying things it could be any of those. The way to really like discover what's happening, I think though, for you is to really find instead like what you are passionate about and let this stuff kind of unfold and reveal itself to you. And the high priestess is also, you know, in the outcome, it's like the high priestess just knows. She intuitively just knows these things. Like the moon just comes to her, right? And she's always in a place of like really being surrendered, and it's like everything's just coming to her. All these animals are around her and plants, and she just knows. It's like, you know, look at that, look at this thing on the top of her head. It's like that is like her just kind of having this wisdom. And that is really the best way to like find guidance within ourselves, right? It's not to like focus on the problem. So loving compassion is the other one. And you know, this, I'm really a really big believer in the way, and I think that this is asking you to like have loving compassion for yourself and your defenses even, right? So like rather than being hard on yourself and saying, come on, like get some passion for this job, find it, or why don't you feel passionate about this? Like this is something that's really important in the world or in this relationship, like being hard on yourself for not having the passion. Instead, having loving compassion for yourself and knowing that like this what's happening to you internally is happening for a reason. Like you are the wounded warrior, you know, and rather than trying to push away those defenses, this is always the case again, whether if it's actually the case that in the relationship that, you know, the first scenario that I said is true, like the Queen of Staffs, maybe this person is in alignment and it's a past hurt that's getting that's kind of making you lack passion, or it's that this person is, you know, maybe doing something shady that you haven't agreed to in the relationship. Either way, having loving compassion for yourself and for the defenses that you have coming up, because they're coming up for a reason. And so I really believe in like leaning into that and to say like, thank you for giving me this lack of passion in this situation, for not you know, causing me to betray myself, because there's something here that I need to heal. And so the way really through is to focus on where you do have passion, to have loving compassion for yourself and your defenses, and to know that they're coming up for a reason. And if you can kind of like let go and you can move towards what does give you passion, that those answers are going to be revealed to you and you are going to become the high priestess. So I hope that this reading has been helpful for you. I hope that it's like resonated in some kind of way and helped you at least to have an idea of what might be helpful for you moving forward. I don't ever think that, you know, people need to just like do what I say because I said it in a reading. This reading may or may not be for you, and I encourage you to really just listen to your own intuitive sense. Like, were there things that I said that actually felt like truth to you, or you know, if they didn't. So yeah, you can just kind of take it or leave it depending on if it's for you. And again, if you would like to see me do some live personal readings for $22 on Tuesdays, please comment down below, subscribe to my channel so that I can get enough subscribers to make that, you know, to make that like a viable thing for me to do with my time. That would be great. And I don't often do just like personal readings. So if I start doing that, I'll definitely post on my channel to have availability for that. And I will see you guys next time.